Welcome everybody to Unscripted TV. We are glad to have you here, and tonight we are excited because, as you know, Unscripted is the streaming network, or actually the interactive cinematic experience that is bringing you really dope Black content. And we have a really great show that will be starting with us tonight called Black Men Cry Too. And it's important that we have shows like this because while we are trying to redefine the narrative surrounding the Black community, we also need to be proactive in being a part of the stories and the changes that we would like to see and be. So it's important that we have these types of discussions and these types of shows and these types of spaces where Black men can be. Coming from a Black woman, it's important because I don't know everything as a Black man, and I would want to learn and help and be a part of that narrative. So I'm excited. Tonight we're going to debut season 1, episode 1 of Black Men Cry 2, and then right afterwards we're going to speak with the creator, Catherine Buscello, and it's going to be a really great discussion. So I want you all to kind of sit back, relax, and get a taste of what we're bringing to you this season with Black Men Cry Too. Without further ado, I want to just get it going. So I want you all to get comfortable, sit down, start writing in the chat, make sure that you're being dynamic with the conversation that's happening, because we want to make sure that we answer any questions that you have that come up afterwards. So here we go. We're going straight into Black Men Cry Too, and then we will speak with Catherine right after.
Black Men Cry Too is an invitation for men of color to feel safe to share their truth and unpack their hurt. My name is Kat, aka Retro Barbie, hashtag bright hair dark liquor, and I created this space as an invitation for Black men to feel empowered to know it's okay that they can cry too. Thank you, Peter, for sitting down with me. Let's take a shot to a good year. All right, so let's kick it off. And tell me about your experiences witnessing police brutality, whether it was personal or somebody else.
In Harlem, it's always been fuck the police, like quite honestly. I've been arrested for bullshit. I remember in high school, I went to a college prep program and I missed a weekend. So I said, cool, I'm gonna do this science project at home. I tried to buy like glycerin, like at the pharmacy. Didn't know that was making bombs. I didn't know that was like a component. Okay. And just got thrown across a cop car. Mind you, I had like the paperwork for a project and everything.
How old were you?
15, 16. And I like had the paperwork like, hey, I'm doing the science project. They didn't care. Got arrested. Like, when I mean arrested, like handcuffs back in the car, not booked yet. I got arrested walking out of Costco, so I looked like a suspect. Yeah, I got arrested with a rotisserie chicken in my hand. Like, it was crazy.
Down with that. I love chicken.
Yeah, niggas love chicken.
Niggas really do love chicken.
I've been handcuffed so many random times just because I look like a suspect or my friends, or like I might have associated with someone who may look like a suspect.
What does look like a suspect mean? Like, what does a suspect look like?
I give you the perfect description. 5'6" to 6'6".
And black.
No. I'll give you even better.
Okay.
Wearing athletic footwear.
That's Jordan.
That's it. And between like 150 to 250. Like, they give you such a broad ground. That's literally the entire Harlem for the most part.
Have you ever been mistaken for an actual suspect that they're looking for?
Yeah. In 8th grade. No, I'm not 8th. In high school. I got arrested walking out of school because they thought I was a suspect in a robbery that happened 2 hours earlier as I was in school.
Did you happen to see what the actual suspect looked like?
Niggas nothing like me. Nothing. Like, I'm like 15, 16. My beard not connecting. I had braids, like dirty braids, and I'm just going to school. I was 15, 16. I was like, the second week. Like, right? And I got arrested, like literally handcuffed and put on a cop car. And I was confused, like, what's going on? You look like you brought, what was you doing an hour ago? Nigga, I'm in my school uniform. What? Then they get mad because you catch an attitude. Mm-hmm. Like, you could never be upset that they're on their bullshit. And I just don't understand why. I don't understand why we have to be somewhat trained and keep a good attitude and keep a positive attitude when they're the ones being trained to deal with people. And these are the same dudes that was born in the suburbs. They don't know how to deal with us. They don't talk our same language. They don't understand our culture. But they're enforcing laws in these neighborhoods with people that look nothing like them. And they treat us like we're suspects all the time. Like, I can't be a kid. The news, a 15-year-old kid is looked as a man. Like, looked at as a man. But a woman the other day looked like, oh, she has a bright future. Brock Turner got he got sentenced 6 months. Really did 3. But they called him a young boy and said his future's ahead of him. Niggas like me, one bad move, I could got clipped or locked up. And I'm a young man. I'm always going to be a man. Ever since I could literally walk anywhere by myself, in the eyes of the police, I'm a man. And I have friends, family who are cops. Like, we all know all cops are not bad.
How do you respond or react when you're forced to have these interactions with police officers, especially knowing that you personally know some?
I just try to treat them like an adult. Because it shows I can really do. I can show them my PBA card. I can tell them who I know. I do know police in high places, but again, they don't care. That doesn't matter. So when I deal with cops, I try to treat them with respect. And I just pray for the best. Because it's not up to me. I don't have the power. They could throw me against a car. Or if I get arrested, right, and 3 cops arrested me, one cop could be like, yo, put your hands up. Another cop could be like, oh, put your hands behind your back. I don't know who I'm listening to. The 3rd cop is ready to kill me. Like, it's just like, I don't know what to do. So I just hope that someone may pull out it. I'd rather get tasered. Like, just fucking taser me. Like, put my ass down. Don't shoot me. I can deal with the lawsuits later. I'd rather just be here later.
I mean, I think that's the sad reality of it when you're preferring what type of physical harm you want to take from police officers, knowing that either one is going to happen regardless.
I'm going to get beat up. Like, there's going to be some violence. Because it's literally a gang. Like, Boys in Blue is legit a gang. Like, versus them. And the cops are not here to protect and serve. They're here to maintain order. And that's been through the beginning of time. Before we was labeled as people. We were things. We were property. If the cops was there when we were property, the same institution is still here. Even the institution didn't change. The times did, but not them.
From what it sounds like, it seems like you feel like there's a target on your back. How do you deal with this feeling when you're in like public spaces with police officers?
My anxiety kicks in. I don't like being in the same train car with cops. I don't like being in eye vision of a cop. Because I can have a bad day, people would know about it, attitudes, whatever, day goes on. If a cops wake up and have a bad day, that could be my last day. And I'm afraid of that. Or let's say a white woman or a white person catches attitude with me on the train, and I'm just like arguing back. Cop ain't restraining that person. They coming straight towards me. So any day could be my last day for cops around. And that worries me.
That's a heavy feeling to have. How do you deal with that anxiety?
I try to create. I try to pray. I try to do yoga.
You be bending?
Yeah, you know how yoga, trying to get my baddie on. But I just...
waist trainer on too?
Nah, that's my man, Goldie 10. Honestly, I just try to live. Dealing with the cop is like having a terminal illness. You're gonna die eventually. You just hope it takes you later than sooner. And seeing cops is like, damn, today could be it. I hope I did good enough up to this point. I hope I've done enough for people I love.
So we just discussed how you feel around police and their perception of you. But in general, how do you feel like society views you?
It's like a double-edged sword. Because, again, I am a black man named Peter from Harlem. So on my resume, I look like this lacrosse player, like top of the line, like, oh, this white guy, Peter. But then I pull up, and oh, so you're Peter. Like,
Next, please.
yeah, because I remember in college, I got an interview for a job. College, I had braids, cornrows, but the suit was popping. Ivy League education, I'm doing it. Pull up. And it was like, oh, Peter here? I was like, yeah, that's me. You sure? And 2 seconds like, bitch. But I just stopped myself because I'm at the job interview. I need this job. And that, I always knew, but like that was one instant that really hit me. And I had to like hold my reactions in real time. Other than that, it depends on my crowd. Like I could be perceived as a thug. I could be perceived as the exceptional Negro. I can like it's just
the token black guy.
Yeah, there's so many different. It's code switching. I have to be every type of black to be accepted.
Does code switching ever make you feel tired? Like I have to put on airs, I have to put on a mask.
Yeah, my 9 to 5. Like I can't be a nigga at work. Like let's say someone gets upset or want to like have attitude. I can't have that same attitude. I have to walk away. I can't, because the moment I raise my voice, things change. Because I'm a black man, my tone is softer. My tone is low. Like the aggression. I have no aggression at work. Like I have to move a certain way because of my blackness, and I have afro. So it's like I'm clearly black. Like this is.
Black. And then you be wearing your little hair wrap.
Yeah, like this is.
It's cute, but I'm here for it.
I appreciate that, but just I have to edit my blackness for other people's liking, and that's why creating makes me. It eases myself. It eases me because I can be naturally black. I can be my type of black. Instead of corporate America, I have to be the acceptable black.
Has any of these stereotypes or misconceptions ever made you think that I need to alter my appearance, I need to change who I am? Like, have you ever had to process those feelings or like debate those feelings that this is what I need to do to survive?
Yeah, I mean, I had braids. So I was tired of braids, so when I left college, I cut my braids. But I knew being an adult in corporate America, I can't have cornrows. It just, like, the corporate America has grown progressively that I can have, like, natural hair as a guy. But then, 2009, 2010, like, the earlier this decade, I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't have this. It was literally just clean dreads or a Caesar, and that was it. And as I've gotten older and I've gotten better at what I do, I don't care because I treat people with respect and they respect me, and I can do a lot that a lot of other people can do, but that's not right. I feel like everybody should be able to move the way they should, like, or they want. Not black people of color have to move in a certain way in comparison to white people.
So with that, it seems like you're now starting to accept being unapologetic and your authentic self. What message are you trying to give to your peers as well as the youth when it comes to showing up as yourself and accepting your blackness and putting your blackness in the world?
It's a freedom. It's the funny thing is I always joke like I love being black, but I wish I could just put that in the closet for a day or two and like recharge. Like I wish I could say, hey, blackness, you don't have to come out today. Relax. I know you're stressed. I know you're stressed. I know you're tired. Like life does that to you. And my message for everybody else is, and try to get to that freedom, because this world, the idea of freedom for people of color has been a hot topic or something of debate for years. Like
what's
now,
free? Hashtag what's free?
What's free? Tell them. And with us, we're locked up differently. We're locked up mentally, institutionally, not physically. If you could fight that through everything that you do, that freedom feels good. Like that liberation, and succeeding on your terms feels so much better than succeeding on somebody else's terms. Like, just get to the end goal, then get to the end goal the way you want to. Because if you don't, you have to go back and do it again, and it won't. And the second time, the second time would be better because you did it yours. You have to do it your way. If you do it somebody else's way, You're just following a blueprint or text or a journey or a path. Do it yours.
Thank you, Peter, so much for sitting down and being vulnerable with me today. Any last words you want to give the folks?
I will say thanks for having me. And just create. And also fuck 12. Student union, first class breakfast, screens is watching. Just create, man. Fuck all them niggas.
And follow us on Instagram at BlackMenCry2, TOO. And follow the hashtag BlackMenCry2, TOO. And we out this.
Cut.
All right. So we got real at the end. He said F12, no. But yes, so that was the very first episode of Black Men Cry 2 that is coming to Unscripted at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays, 9 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesdays. And we are excited to have the host that you just saw asking all of those great questions on with us tonight. So please welcome Catherine Bucello. Hey.
Hi.
We all bundled up. I got cold, so I ended up putting on a blanket and
Cozy
I didn't
vibes.
even
It's
notice.
just cozy vibes.
But how are you tonight?
I am well. How are you?
I'm great. And I'm really glad that I just got to watch that episode again with everyone because I thought that it was great. And I think that it's a great place for us to start. One, by bringing you on to Unscripted. So yay, welcome to the family. But two, by just even understanding like what redefining moment happened to make you say, you know what, I need to make this show.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for bringing me onto this family and thank you for having me here tonight. I super appreciate it. Super appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. To make a long story short, and I really need to work on like shortening the story of how I came to this moment. It was 3 different personal circumstances that happened in my life that was foreshadowing this moment to create this platform. The first was when I was in high school. I lost a male best friend to suicide. And we were on the phone the night before. So when they talk about signs, you can't tell a 14-year-old to see signs in a 15-year-old at that time, especially in the Black and Latinx community. We weren't talking about mental health back then. So that stayed and has stayed with me and has shaped me to this day. The second instant was I was in a mutually abusive relationship. And it was due to the fact that we were both depressed and we were both abusing vices. And we didn't know the two combined what it would do and the detriment it did to our mental health and our relationship. The last situation that pushed me here was I was involved in a situationship, as many of us unfortunately are. And I was involved with a very stoic man who was feared and respected in his neighborhood, but viewed me as his safe space to the point where he's never seen me cry due to just not sharing certain things about myself. And I can count the amount of times I've watched him break down. And it really took him being so open for me to understand why he moves the way he does. And all my male friends around the same time were becoming a bit more open with being expressive of what they went through. And it was a whole new world for me. I was in there like, you went through what? You're holding on to what? That's a lot. Like, how are you walking around every day with all that baggage on you? So just seeing that as, well, if I can make these men feel comfortable having these deep conversations with me, these conversations need to be heard. Their perspectives, their stories, their voices need to be amplified. And they need to be amplified within our community. White media isn't telling their stories properly. White media is painting this horrible image of them. Let me show that as an ally, as a Black woman, as a biracial woman, what an ally looks like as being a supporter, as helping them kickstart their healing journey. And that's when I decided to create Black Men Cry 2. The name was actually given to me by a friend who witnessed me doing a mental health panel and said, wow, there's a big push around mental health in Black women. What about Black men? Black Men Cry 2. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to take that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but that's mine. And here we are today. I decided to make it a web series just so people can visually see these men and how different these men look are, behave, sound, and find one that resonates with them.
Right. No, I don't think you need to shorten the story at all, because I think that all three pieces that you mentioned are extremely important, even down to how you found the name for the show. So I appreciate you for taking us on that journey to get to where you are now, because this is amazing and I'm proud of you. Um,
Thank you.
and as a person who is always a safe space for Black men that I'm with, that I know, and then I'm also a mom, so I'm raising a Black man. So like it's like one of those things. I do think that there are things that we will never understand, and there are things that we are the only ones who can understand. So I think that it's great that you decided to do that. And I do have a question about these conversations. Black men do cry, and obviously Peter was extremely strong. Like he was straight up, he was all with it. But have you had guests cry on the show?
So I had a guest ask me, is the intention for you to have us cry here? And I was like, it's a safe space. You do whatever you feel like doing, okay? Um, on the actual show, have they cried? No, but I've had in season 1, you will see there's an episode where someone admits something, a trauma that happened to him in his childhood, a sexual trauma that happened to him in his childhood. And he says on the show, this is the first time I'm saying it out loud.
Wow.
And from there, meanwhile, this was season 1. This was the first 6 pilot episodes I was doing, and he was the last pilot episode I was doing.
Wow.
And to hear that afterwards, me and my team debriefed, and we looked at each other like, we may be onto something here. If this is someone who this is the second time he's met me, felt so comfortable sharing it and finally putting it out there, to today, he's tackled that conversation with his mother. He's tackled that conversation with the person involved. Like, he's doing the steps. He made the connections and the recognitions of how it played an effect in his life and his relationships. And I've had a few of those moments where guests who I'm close with have revealing, and it was revealing of something I didn't know. So I myself had to keep myself together. And then afterwards, I had to wipe away a few tears, like, wow, I didn't know this about my friend and how deeply that connects to me. So I've had those incidents instead.
Yeah, and I mean that's also super important. And then I guess this is a therapeutic show. Have you decided to go to school for therapy or for anything like that?
You know, you're the first person to actually ask me that.
What?
Yeah. I always love being thrown curveballs that I wish somebody would ask. So it has. I haven't fully decided if I want to make that move. I did decide I want to get a certification in human behavior just so I can get a better understanding, mainly so I have the education aspect to partner with the experience aspect when I'm having these conversations. But there's a possibility in my new 10-year plan, I may be looking for a career change, possibly.
Okay, well, we will stay with our eyes and ears open to know what that is. But in the time being, I do think that it's great that you're doing this. And I think that having the education behind it is also helpful, because you do have a skill or a talent where you can pull certain things out of people. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't have therapists that we can connect with that can do that, or like some the people who've gone to school for it might not be the ones that we need. And I'm saying this from experience. Like, I need to refine my person. So it's important that we do have that. And I'm not going to talk all day, although I think that we should definitely have you back on for a longer period of time, because this is a real conversation that's important. But he said something that I thought was interesting. He said that he feels like sometimes he has to edit his blackness. And previously, I spoke to someone, and she said that being unapologetically Black is being rebellious. So like that's a rebellion. And to me, like, those two things are crazy, because that's pretty much saying that we can't be our whole selves.
Right.
So like, what's your thoughts with that?
Well, so funny that I picked the shirt today that says "Too tired to code switch."
Yes, come on with alignment.
The universe, it did it today. So when he had said that, I clearly deeply felt that, because here I am again, biracial woman who's presenting Black into the universe, and I walk around with colorful hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that as just I was going on a trip, and then it became a part of me, and it became bigger than me. And then I made sure it stayed a part of me, to the point where when I see young Black girls and they get excited off of my hair, it just means so much to me, because that's what I needed to see growing up. Like, there's a Crown Act that was passed. Why in America do we need an act that was passed so we can wear our natural hair and get a job? I can't even wear my own natural hair and get a job here. That sounds insane. You can't show up as yourself in your workplace. You can't show up as yourself in social environments because you're deemed as a threat. You're just showing up as yourself. So for him to say that, and to think about how we police young Black girls more than we do young Black men, it still happens to Black men in workspaces. It still happens to Black men more when it comes to interactions with police officers. And the idea of, like you said, like the fact that it's rebellious, well, then call me a rebel. Like, it is what it is. We're tired. We're literally tired at this point. And I'm very excited with the way that the times have been changing, and the way that our generation has been pushing that forward, to be like, no, no more of this. You're not policing us anymore. You're not making me dim my own light. This is how I'm going to show up. I'm still respectful. I'm still educated. I'm still beautiful. And you will view me as such.
Yes. Come on. Come on. I'm snapping, I'm clapping, I'm all of that. Yeah. So I'm rebellious too. We are out here unapologetically, unscriptedly Black, okay?
Ooh, I like that. Unapologetically, unscriptedly Black.
Yes. But no, like I love that. I love the enthusiasm that you have with and for this show and everything that you're doing. And you know what? As you continue to grow with this show, how do you find guests? Like what can people do to be a part of this conversation?
Yeah, so I've been blessed so far, where it's kind of funny. In season one, the final guest I have on season one, I thought I wasn't going to be able to speak to him or obtain him as a guest until like season 2 or 3. Met him, had a conversation with him, told him how he helped inspire this platform, would love if in the future he said, let's do it now. Why the future? Okay, yes, let's do it now. So in pitching people who I thought I wasn't even going to be able to get, and Peter, so thankfully and helpfully got Puma from Black Ink Crew as one of the guests as well, because he's friends with him from Harlem. And just seeing Black men just say yes without hesitation. There's maybe been 2 that had asked to come on and then recanted. Okay, they weren't comfortable, they weren't ready yet, and I'm not pushing anybody to have an uncomfortable conversation. But for season 2, I did a call, and with the call, I had so many people respond to it, to the fact where people in Texas are excited and can't wait until I come to Texas or they come to New York to get on the show. Someone in London has asked me if I'm going to take it international so they can get on the show and like share their truth. Before, I was very nervous and apprehensive, like, will I have enough guests to keep this going? Now I'm sitting back shocked and blessed, like, wait, I have a running list of people that want to get on.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying no to people who want to share their story and feel comfortable. I just literally created a list, and my 5-year, 2-year goal is to take it on the road. I want to continue going to different states and go international.
Yeah, we're putting it out there. I'm with it and I'm for that. And honestly, I was gonna ask a question because they say that there's not a lot of safe spaces for Black men. And maybe you've heard of Kevin Samuels because like he's been so far the voice of Black men. And with what you're doing, I feel that this is an opportunity for people to have a safe space where they are able to share their stories and where it is kind of brought in by a Black woman, which is kind of similar to what he's doing because he's talking to Black women. So like my question really is, one, do you feel a certain way about Black men having a safe space to have their own narrative? And two, how do you feel being the one that's doing it on this end?
I feel like it's imperative for Black men to have safe spaces that promote healthy conversations. And that's the part where I feel like they teeter the line when it comes to safe spaces. You think about the barbershop and that's their safe space. Yeah, it's also where you guys are watching the R. Kelly sex tape. So how safe is the barbershop? Like, let's be honest here, guys. Okay, thanks. Part of the reason why I wanted to do this series as well, being a Black woman, is I feel like the conversations between Black men and Black women are sometimes different than just the conversations between Black men. Because when it's just Black men in the space, you don't get that woman perspective. You don't get that insight. You don't get the, actually, or I don't think, or have you considered, has anyone said? So they kind of view women as like the nurturers. They view us almost like their moms, their sisters. So they get to be a little bit more open and vulnerable because they get that like, oh, I'll be comforted.
Right.
Not to say that's not the case when it is all men in the room. I'm not saying that. I have seen safe spaces. I know of safe spaces by Black men. That's just part of the reason why I wanted to do it on my end. In doing the work in general as a Black woman, I've learned so much. One, of course, from and about Black men, but I've learned a lot about myself in this process. So it's definitely teaching me and helping me grow. I'm not going to say like, oh, it helped me grow. I'm still growing and I grow every day, especially doing this type of work. And the past weekend, I got into a heated argument with a very close male friend of mine. And from that argument, some of the things that were said, I had to take that as, wow, I come across this way sometimes, or I do this sometimes, or I made someone indirectly feel this way. This is something I know in the back of my mind, not only with this person, with other people, especially with Black men. How can I change that to not make another Black male feel that way?
I love it. I love the growth. I love everything that you're doing. I'm really glad that you're a part of Unscripted, but that you're really redefining the narrative surrounding Black men being able to cry too. And the relationship between Black women and women, Black men and women, because we need it, and I'm proud of you. So we are at time. Oh, it sucks, but I definitely want you to just let people know how to find you and how they can continue to watch the show, especially on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Unscripted TV. But yeah, like, no, the floor is yours so that they can really get to connect with you. And your social media handle is on the next page that's going to come up too. So go ahead.
Thank you. Well, you can connect with the brand on social media at Black Men Cry 2, TOO. You can find me on Instagram at RetroBarbie92. And you can follow the show, of course, first on Unscripted TV, Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific time. But you can also tune in on YouTube, as well as if you're on the go, we are on Spotify podcast as well as Apple Podcasts.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. We will be tuning in on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Oh my gosh, y'all. Times.
Mercury is lemonading right now. That's
okay.
why.
That's what it is. Right. I would blame her too. No, okay. But I'm glad to have you. I'm so excited for you. I thank you for doing what you're doing because it takes a network of people to finally make a change. So we appreciate you for being part of that network that's redefining these narratives. So thank you, Catherine.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having the brand, and thank you for pushing Black narratives and Black stories forward.
Absolutely. Well, this is just the beginning, so we will see you again later. Have a good one.